Hey guys, so now I'm going to show how I like to deal with the X pass. It's a very popular pass in Jiu-Jitsu, and I really like to, I have a really good response to the X pass. So my opponent's going to control my rib, and I'm going to focus on one thing here. And all I'm going to focus on is what he grips on my knee. That is how I decide how I'm going to deal with this pass. If he grabs the inside of my knee, opposed to the outside of my knee. So I'm going to address it based on how he grabs. So he's going to start with the outside grip on my knee. He's going to go to pass. Immediately when he's passing, like I said before, all his power is in this grip. So what am I going to do? I'm going to push his shoulder away. I'm going to put my foot inside his shoulder. But now his hand is on my hip. So I'm going to throw a lasso in over his shoulder. And now all I'm going to do is square up my hips. Now that I'm here, guys, I can hook his armpit, go omoplata. I'm here. I can go triangle. I'm here. I could go so many options here, but I just have to address this outside knee grip, just like I talked about before. So I'm here. He's going to be here. He goes for the X pass. He gets this grip. Immediately, I address it by putting my foot inside, addressing this grip. I shut off the power in his pass because of this grip. I keep my knee facing toward his knee. I get my leg over his shoulder. Now all I'm going to do is I'm going to square my hips. Now I'm in all my attacks here. Omoplata, triangle, triangle, De La Riva, first De La Riva, sleeve guard, tripod. And I have so many attacks there, but I just have to neutralize this attack that he's doing. Here he goes X pass. I connect my foot immediately here. I can even push. So if I feel like I can't put my foot immediately, what I like to do is this. He starts going, he's putting all his weight here. So I put my leg here, based on the weight of his shoulder. If his weight was on this arm, I'm going to put my foot in immediately. That's how I determine if I can put it in immediately. If his weight's on this shoulder, I can't put it in immediately, so I go here first. If his weight's on this arm, I can't put my foot in immediately, so I go here first. So based on where his weight is on his arm, I adjust it by throwing my leg over. Just like the over-under pass, I'm going to show later on. So we're here. He has the X pass. He's here. He's putting his weight here. So I frame here for a second. I throw my leg over because this is where his shoulder is weak. Now I push and I frame off of this. I lift up my hips because he's trying to get over my leg. I put my leg over his arm. Now I have the frame here and I adjust the grip. Now I'm safe to go here to open guard, spider, all of my attacks here. So here he's going X pass. Here. Boom, boom, boom. All my attacks. Again, I'm just focused on whatever shoulder he's leading with. Every time I have to frame, so go for the pass. Every time I frame like this, the initial second. Just to save me in case his weight is on this shoulder. If his weight's on this shoulder, I can pummel here. Now I have 2 frames, 1 and 2. So this way so you can see, I have 2 frames. 1 on my foot and 1 on my hand to put my foot up. Now I'm safe. But if I feel that his weight, so now put your weight on this side. Now he's here, so he's going for the X pass. His weight is here. I can immediately put my foot here because all his weight is here. Now I put my weight here, I can put my leg over. Now I'm safe. So now, real speed. I'm just feeling where his weight is. This way. Okay guys, so now I'm going to show another variation to the X pass, and this time my opponent's going to have a different grip on my leg, and like I said, that's all I pay attention to is if the grip's on the inside or outside, and I'm going to show you guys how to address this other grip. So my opponent then is going to go for the X pass, he's going to have his arm on my hip, but notice now that his grip is on the inside of my knee instead of the outside like before. So because his grip is on the inside of the knee, instead of before going here, all I'm going to do is I'm going to overhook his leg. And how am I going to do this? All I'm going to do is I'm going to push his elbow to frame on his elbow. Now that his elbow is bent, I throw my leg over, and I throw both legs over. Now I have both frames on his shoulder and I can square my hips, and now I'm back to open guard with all my attacks. So all I'm focused on is his grip when he comes into my guard. This is the most important part of this position, is how he's approaching his grip on my leg. So I'm here, Ben makes an inside grip on my knee. So I'm wary of where his grip is. I'm already paying attention. And immediately, what I'm going to do is I'm going to push his elbow. I'm going to throw my leg over. I feel like his weight's on this side. His weight's all on this arm. I'm going to throw my leg over first. So depending on where his weight is when he comes into me is where I throw over first. I just feel. So immediately I push his arm, regardless of where his weight is. And if his weight's on this arm, I throw my leg over first, then I pummel. If his weight's on this arm, I throw my leg over first, and now I pummel this one. Just based on wherever his strength is, I go the opposite. I never force. I always go the opposite of where his strength is. So we're here. He's going for the X pass. I push. He starts coming in. His weight right now is on this leg, so I'm going to throw this leg over first. Now I'm going to throw this leg over here. It might look like I'm doing both at the same time, but I'm really focused on whichever one is coming in first, because that's where his power is. So now, right now, all his weight's on this hip. So I can throw it in because I'm more flexible, but I don't want to rely on flexibility here. I want to go with the position. This is where he's weak. It's in this arm. So I'm going to push, I'm going to throw my leg over. Now I push this shoulder, and now all his weight's on this shoulder, this arm's weak. I throw my leg over, I square my hips. So now again, so here, his weight's on this leg. I push, this shoulder is weak. Now all his weight's here, I push his weight to this shoulder. I throw my leg over. And I'm here. Put this arm on my head. Now his weight's here. I throw my leg over. I push his arm, and I replace my hand with my foot. Boom. I push his shoulder. Now his weight's on that shoulder. This shoulder is vulnerable. I can throw my leg over. Okay. Boom. You see, this time his weight was on that arm, so I pummeled that leg over first. His weight's on this. So now I push, throw my leg over, I push his weight back to this shoulder, throw my leg over. Again guys, I'm just focused on his grip. If he had a grip on the outside of my knee, I react differently. Because his grip's on the inside of the knee, I'm approaching my defense based on this grip, because that's where his power is. And each grip he does has different pros and cons. So I have to be aware of his pros and cons of each grip, and that's how I'm addressing it in the position. So now let's do it a few more times, 5 speed. Okay guys, so now I'm going to show what I like to do when my opponent forces my leg into half guard. So again, as I explained before, every time someone forces my leg between them, I'm using my hips, and every time they're trying to throw or stack me, I'm using my neck. So my opponent now is going to get my leg in between them, and we're going to be in a half guard position here. So I'm stuck in half guard, and my goal here, what I said is I have to use my hips. This is so important here, guys, how I use my hips. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to keep his weight away from this shoulder. Because every time he gets his weight on this shoulder, he's going to pass my guard to get to this shoulder. But once he connects his head to this shoulder, I'm in trouble because I can't move his body off of me. So what do I have to do here? Immediately, I go collar and I go sleeve. And all I'm going to do is push his shoulder away. Now, move away and change the angle. Now, when I push his shoulder away, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to keep his weight on this shoulder and this leg. So, because his weight's over here, it's not on top of me. And because he's not on top of me putting pressure, it's going to make it way easier for me to defend this position. So, I'm here first. I make a knee shield. I make a cross collar, and I make my sleeve grip. My knee shield hook is pushing him literally that way to put all his weight on his shoulder and all his weight on his leg. So this side of his body is being, his weight is being on, and this side of his body is light. So, so on here, I go in knee shield, I hook his back, I literally make a hook on my foot, on his back, and I grab the collar and I work in a line. I work parallel line to make his body move that way. So I can just show how I'm using my leg. Hook, I grab the collar, I push his body away. Okay, so now that I made clear like how I'm moving his body, what I'm going to do now is this. I'm going to make a knee shield, I'm going to make a cross collar, I'm going to make this lead. I'm going to push his body away, and because his weight's not on top of me, I'm going to take advantage of this. How am I going to take advantage of this? All I'm going to do is I'm going to use my hook on the back of his body to move my body away. I move my head from here away from him. And all I'm going to do with my elbow is I'm going to go on my elbow here. I'm posting on my arm, on my elbow. And what is this going to do? This puts my weight in a different spot on my body that I have a frame now. So my foot and my arm I could base on. And I'm going to put pressure. I'm going to go on my arm. And look how I can stay here, guys. Because my weight's on my elbow and my weight's on my leg. To take my leg out. And notice, I'm using my hips here. If I didn't use my hips and put my weight on my neck, he's going to force half guard. Force half guard? Because I can't push him away if I'm not using my hips. So I'm here. He comes into the half guard. We're here. I frame. I go cross collar. I push his body away with my knee shield. Because his weight's over here, I'm going to take advantage of this. How am I going to do that? I'm going to move my head away. I'm going to go on my elbow here. I'm going to put all my weight on my elbow. I'm going to put my weight on my hook. And I'm going to push down his collar, punching it away. I go on my elbow. I take out my bottom leg and put my foot on his bicep. Now here, I go under his arm. I can go close guard. I have all my attacks, my submissions, all my attacks here. I just have to get out my bottom leg using my hips. So we're here. He gets over one of my legs. We're in half guard. I go knee shield on his shoulder. I punch and push him away. Now that I pushed him away, guys, all I'm doing is his weight's on this part of his body. I'm going to take advantage of this using the hook on my back, punching away, moving my head away from him, using my hook on his back, reinforcing his weight that way. Go on my elbow, I push, I go on my arm here to take out my arm, to get back to open guard here. So, the key in this position, whenever I'm getting forced in half guard, is moving my head away. So I'm here, we're here. If I move my head toward him in half guard, he's going to pass my guard. In open guard, if I move my head toward me, it's good because I'm putting my foot on his arm, so it's safe for me to do this in open guard. In half guard, every time I put my head toward him, I'm in trouble because I'm giving him a pressure pass. So I have to move my head away from him in half guard spot, and I have to put his weight off of me. The more weight he has on me, the more trouble I am in half guard. So I move my weight away, I put my weight on my elbow, I put pressure, I go on my elbow. I can hang because my foot over here is putting pressure on his back. Now I put my foot on his arm, and I can go back to open guard. So again, different angle. Here, I go knee shield, I hook his back. Here, I put pressure away from me. Now that the weight's off of me, this side of his body is free. So like I said before, I'm always taking advantage of where his weight is and where his weight isn't. I even have the option of attacking an omoplata here if I feel like his weight doesn't come back into me. So I'm always aware of where his weight is on his shoulders, and I'm taking advantage of that. So I'm here, I'm putting pressure, I want to go omoplata. He starts leaning into me, I just feel like I can't go omoplata, so I go here, I take my leg out, and I go to open guard. Switch this side. Here. Here. I put pressure away from me. I go on my elbow. I'm here. If I see it, I'm going to take this arm right here. I'm going to open his elbow. I'm going to go for the omoplata. If I feel like that arm's kind of closed, I'm going to do this position. So, we're here. We're here. Here, I move his body away from me. Go on my elbow. I put a weight off of me using my hook. I take out my bottom leg using my hips. This is so important. If I keep my weight on my neck, I can't take out my bottom leg. He's just going to come forward and he's going to smash me because I need to use my hips to take out this leg. So I do like a hip escape, moving my head away to take out my bottom leg, to climb up to take out my bottom leg. Okay. Here, knee, shield, frame. Put his body away from me, or my elbow. Here. Okay guys, so now I'm going to show my second variation of this position, and basically I tried my first one and my opponent reacted a certain way, and instead of forcing this position, I'm going to go to my next position because I never like to force the position. I feel like if I'm forcing it, I'm using energy that I shouldn't be using. So I never try to force, I always go with my opponent instead of against my opponent. So I'm going to be here in half guard. I'm using a knee shield to defend him passing my guard, putting pressure on me. I have a knee shield. And like before, I grab the cross collar, I grab the arm, I push his body away from me. So his weight is over here. So now, because I pushed his body away from me, I can move my head away to take out my bottom leg. So this works perfect, like for my first scenario. But now, my opponent is going to give me a different reaction. And I'm going to have to address this reaction. So I start trying to take my leg out. My opponent feels I'm taking my leg out. He puts his weight on his leg. So now I come up, I can't take my leg out. So now I can't take my leg out. What am I going to do? So if you think of the body, when he puts his weight on his legs versus his upper body, I attack the opposite. So if his weight is on his legs, I can attack his legs. When his weight's on his upper body is vulnerable. So I go with whatever he gives me. So because his weight is on his legs, what does that mean about his upper body? His upper body's weak now. So I'm here, I go back down. He's leaning on his upper body now because he has to put so much effort to keeping my leg inside half guard. And because he's putting so much effort to keep my leg inside half guard, all I'm going to do is this. I'm going to underhook his arm. I'm going to throw my leg over and put my leg next to his head. My hand and my knee are next to each other now. And what is this going to do? Now I'm just going to put his weight on this back shoulder to the mat. Putting his body to the mat here. And now that I buried his head, using my side of my knee on his body, now I pivot my body, I throw my leg in, and now I can attack the armbar position here. I control the wrist, and I stretch his arm. Get the submission. So guys, just to pay attention to what I said again, if I'm fighting his upper body, so the first one, he's putting more weight on me, he's putting pressure, his weight's on his upper body, I'm able to clear my leg, because his weight's going on his upper body. This time, he puts his weight on his legs, so now what is weak? His upper body is weak, because all his weight is on his legs. So I can't take my leg out. So now his upper body is free. So now I'm just going to go with what he's giving me. I'm going to take his upper body. I'm going to underhook his arm. I'm going to put my knee across his chest here, just as a frame. I underhook his arm here to just make a hook on his arm. I grab by his elbow, tricep area. I throw my leg over, and now my knee and my hand are next to each other. So now I have this position set. I'm ready to do my position. So for this position, I want all his weight to go to this shoulder. So then I can hip escape my body out. So I'm here. I put my weight to this shoulder. Now I can control my collar. However you guys like to do, I can hold up tricep. It doesn't matter. So I move my body out. I keep his body buried onto that far shoulder. I throw my leg over. And now I'm going to get the armbar. When I get the armbar, the most important thing here to do, guys, is pinch my knees. So now the pressure is on the elbow perfect and the shoulder to get the submission. half guard, just change angle. My opponent's here. I want to take out my bottom leg. I go to take out my leg, I can't. So now his weight's on his legs. I feel his weight sitting on my leg. I can't take it out. So now all I'm going to do is I put my knee on his chest. I move my body toward him. I underhook his arm. I put my knee next to his head. Now I'm going to throw my leg over his body. Now that I throw my leg over his body, I have to put his weight on his back shoulder. And I move. And how I do this, I just hip skate my butt away from me. I just move my butt away. I move my butt away. And as I'm doing that, I'm burying my collar grip on his hand using my leg. So I move his body down, and I keep climbing my leg higher and higher and higher to get my leg inside. Now I can hook this leg. I can keep my leg pinched here. It doesn't matter whatever preference you guys have with finishing an armbar, but I have the armbar here to finish the arm. Gets half guard. So first his weight's on the upper body. I can take out my legs. So I'm here, I'm here. His weight is coming forward. He's leaning a little bit, so his legs are compromised. This time, he doesn't compromise his weight on his legs. So I go here, I can't take my leg out. So I put my knee on his chest, I move my body back in. I move my head closer to his shoulder now because of the frame of my knee, because I know he's sitting on his legs. I underhook the arm, I throw my leg over. Now notice how my leg is, I beat it down. I beat my leg down to put pressure on his body using my calf, my knee, and my toes beating down. Like if I'm in an armbar here, like in just in close guard armbar. When I do a close guard armbar, I beat down his back here. It keeps the posture of his body down. So when I'm doing this position here, and I'm here, I beat down my leg the same way as an armbar, just beating my leg down. I control the elbow, I straighten his arm, I throw my leg in for the tight armbar. Now guys, I want to show you from this position what's going to happen when I go for the armbar sometimes. I'm going to be here. I'm going to be on my knee. I'm going to start going for the armbar. So I'm going to take my leg out. I'm going to try to take it out. I can't. Knee to chest. I bring my body in. I get to the arm. I throw my leg over. I start going for the armbar here. As I'm going for the armbar, I start throwing my leg in. I feel like he's putting his weight forward on the shoulder, on the forward shoulder. So now, instead of going for the armbar, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my bottom hook out. I'm going to take it out here, and I'm going to go for an arm lock here. And how I do the arm lock here, guys, I like to keep the arm as close as I can to my head. Here. I overhook it, I go toward his head, and I hook his bottom foot here. The reason I hook the bottom foot is if I go here, he can roll. Just roll over your head. Here. He can roll, which is not bad. I have other options, but I don't want him to roll. I want to finish this arm lock. So I get here. We're in half guard. We're here. Trying to take out my leg. I can't. I move my head in. Knee, leg, here. He starts putting his weight forward on his shoulder. I take out my leg. I go for the arm lock. I hook his back leg here. Now that I hook this back leg, he can't roll. So now his body is in place, perfect for me to do this arm lock. I bring this arm as close as I can to my head. I put the forearm on his elbow. I put my forearm connecting to his elbow, and all I'm going to do is go toward his head. Now what I want to do is, move this way. What I want to do is, just like the armbar before, I want to put all his weight on this back head, on his head on the mat. I squeeze, and I'm going to connect my hand to my bicep and my elbow, and put pressure to tap. So we're here. Coming in. Trying to take out my leg. I can't take out my leg. I go knee shield, I come in. I underhook, I throw my leg over, I start going for the armbar. He puts his weight forward. I take out my foot, I hook his back leg, so now he can't roll. I grab my elbow, I put his arm as close as I can to my head to get to this position. I grab my elbow, and I go toward his head, putting all the weight from his shoulder onto the mat and his head on the mat to put the weight on the arm. I'm just giving you guys multiple options here because I want you guys to know, based on his reaction, what to do. So you don't just force the armbar if you feel like it's not there. So he's here. He's here. I get the knee shield. Start trying to take the leg out. Put my knee on the chest. Underhook. Put my leg in. I start going to the armbar. I clear my leg. I hook the back leg. And now I'm here. Now here, I move his arm here. And what I'm really trying to do is I'm trying to put his shoulder down to the floor. Here. Because now I have so much pressure on my shoulder, my body, to finish this submission. And he can't roll. So I'm in a really safe position. So I'm here, holding my leg, get down, I go here, I go here. Now guys, I'm going to try to go for the arm lock, and I feel like he's putting too much weight forward for me to do the arm lock. All I'm going to do is I'm going to use my head and this arm to bend the arm. I'm going to bridge my hip up, I'm going to push the arm to the hip, now I'm in the omoplata. So all these positions work together in a series, and I just do based on his reaction. I'm not forcing one. Based on what I can get, I'm going to do. So he's here, sitting with a half guard. He's here. I try to take out my leg. I can. I go closer to his body. I underhook. I throw my leg in. I bury his body. I clear my leg. He puts all his weight forward. Here. So now his weight's on this shoulder. It's hard for me to unlock because his arm's heavy. So I'm going to put my weight on my heels. I'm going to bridge up. Overhook the arm to lock the omoplata. Half guard, or here. Here, overhook, bury your body. I go here, I clear my leg. I want to go arm lock, I can't, so I bridge my hips up. When I bridge my hips up, look how it puts his weight back to the other shoulder. It gives me the time to bury his arm into my hip to go for the omoplata. Now I'm going to show all three together and how they chain together. I'm going to do each attack and then he's going to react while I'm doing the attack. So, here, I'm here. I try to clear the leg, move my head in, bury his shoulder. I go here. I'm able to keep his body on that far shoulder. I'm able to keep his head on the mat. So now I can move my body to attack the armbar. So now I'm here. I'm trying to attack the armbar. He puts his weight forward a little bit. So I feel this. So I use this back leg to push this leg away. And what does that do? That takes out my bottom leg here. So he's keeping my leg in. I push it out to take out my bottom leg. Now I put weight on his hip so I can move my body away. I hook his back leg and I move the arm toward his head. I try to get his head to the mat so now I can keep the pressure. My forearm on his elbow, my other arm on his elbow to finish the submission. Here. One, he puts weight forward. Take out my foot on the leg. I go arm lock, 2. Now I feel like he's putting his weight on his shoulder. I can't do this position. So I keep the ball, I put the palms of my feet up to bridge my hips. To pummel the arm under my hip to go for the omoplata. Angle. Here. Boom, come forward, I take the leg, here, hook, here, put weight forward, bridge, one more time, so I get this short combination, here, 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 I get the knee shield, here, come forward, overhook, here, to take out my, I go here, take out my leg in to get the arm bar, his body stayed down, now he comes forward. Get this grip, I go here, I hook the leg, I go for the arm lock here. He puts his weight forward, I bridge my hip, omoplata. Just wanted to show you guys how all these submissions chain together and they're all consecutive based on their opponent's reaction, and for sure you'll be able to get one of them. Just depending on your timing and his reaction, you'll see which one you can get. Oos. Okay guys, so now I'm going to show another variation I like to do off of the Kiss of the Dragon position. So my opponent's in the Toreando pass. Same scenario, he has the grips. I pummel, I push the 2-on-1, I push the knee, I get my grips, I go under his body. So I get here now, and now I feel like this hip is vulnerable. So I'm going to take advantage of that. And how am I going to do that? I'm going to take my butt grip, and I'm going to make it on this side of his hip. Why is that? Because now I'm going to push up his body, I'm going to take my hook, put it on this side, and I'm going to stretch my body. And this leg, I'm going to pull up, guys. And I'm going to move my hand down his knee here. And I'm going to take this foot, I'm going to step on his hip here to finish a knee bar position here. I have the basic knee bar here, guys. But now, instead of going for this basic knee bar, what am I going to do? I'm going to hold the leg, I'm going to take this foot, I'm going to put it in between my leg, and I'm going to lock a triangle on his leg. Now I'm going to lock another triangle on this leg. I'm going to put my hand on my calf, and I'm just going to lightly put pressure on my opponent's leg. So I'm here, and all I do is I bridge to go for the knee bar. He feels it. He's opening his knee a little bit. I go here. Now, he cannot open his knee. There's no defense here. He can't take his knee out. Before, when I'm here, there's a chance he can open his knee to square up his hips. When I get this in, he cannot open his knee anywhere because he's locked in with his own foot. So he's in trouble here. I can finish the knee bar here. So, let's go again. Here, he does the pass. Pummel, switch, go under. I get the far butt grip, I stretch, I lift this leg up to sweep, I move my body down, I step on the hip to finish the knee bar here. I cut my leg and I stretch the leg to finish the knee bar. Instead of doing this one now, I'm going to take the foot, I'm going to throw my leg over. Now I lock a triangle here and I put pressure on his butt. Now I have the perfect pressure for a knee bar and he can't move. Another option I could do here, guys, is I could take the leg out and I could go for the toe hold here, putting pressure on his ankle right here. So I have the knee bar and I have the toe hold here. And he can't move his leg at all now, he's stuck. So I could take my time and adjust the position how I'd like to finish. So right here, doing Toreando. Pummel my legs, 2-on-1, push, I go under. He goes here. Let's move our body this way. A little more, a little more. So this grip here helps me at the end to sweep his leg. Just so you pay attention to this grip. I get this, I stretch his body, I lift his leg up. So he loses his base the second I lift this leg. I move my hand down his body, I position my hip with this foot to move my body, to go for a knee bar here, and now I want to do the stronger knee bar. I'm holding the knee, I put his foot in, I throw my leg over. I lock my legs, and now I finish the knee bar. Now let's do it more real time. Here, get the pucker, then up. I sweep. I move my body down. I go knee bar here. Here, connect my foot. Here, knee bar. Toe hold. There.